Hey friends, what if Naruto was after bringing Sasuke back with Tsunade Naruto x Yubelluna x Serafall movie? Ugh, groaned a young teen who has awakened from his slumber. His body was both sore and aching, with pain jolting on his right shoulder. Obsidian blue slowly revealed themselves to see a white ceiling, one that he has frequently seen in his childhood, a hospital grate. The teen lifted himself from the hospital bed taking a sitting position. His spiky sun-kissed blonde hair shined sunlight. Part of his face, along with the rest of his body, was covered in medical tape. He had a gray long-sleeve shirt and pants. This boy is Naruto Uzumaki. How did I ended up here? Thought the blonde as he recalled his fight with a certain Uchiha. The fight was destructive to say the least. They had gone all out in that duel. He was stabbed by that Chidori right where the jolt of pain was. Later he tapped into the Kickbee's chakra while the team tapped the cursed seal power, then everything went blank. How do you feel? Naruto turned to look at the source of the voice. There entering the room was a brown eyes and straight shoulder-length blonde hair that she usually keeps tied in two loose ponytails. She wears a gray kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad dark bluish-gray obi that matches her pants. Her blouse is closed quite low, revealing her sizable cleavage. She had on an open-toed strappy black sandals with high heels. She has red polish on both her fingernails and toenails and uses a soft pink lipstick. This woman is Tsunade Senju, the goddamn Hokage. I feel great. Was I able to bring Sasuke? Asked Naruto curiously. Tsunade sighed and walked towards him and took a seat beside his bed. You were successful in stopping the Uchiha. Kakashi found you two knocked out on the water, brought the two of you to the hospital. That is great, I was able to keep my promise, said Naruto with a smile. However, the busty Hokage said, capturing Naruto's attention, the civilian council with the signature of the fire daimyo has decided to banish you. What? Tsunade looked at the devastated boy. I'm sorry Naruto, even do I try to veto the banishment, they used Konoha law against me, making it impossible to do anything. My granduncle, Tobirama, was very good when it comes to covering any form of loopholes, now they used his own law to banish you. Naruto looked crushed. He has brought them the last Uchiha and defeated a giant sand monster for them, and what does he get? Banishment. But this brings me to the reason why I am here. Tsunade stood up. Naruto, I know you are almost fully healed, so I will bring you to learn of your inheritance. And my inheritance? Asked the boy curiously. Yes, it's time for you to collect everything that belongs to your parents, since you no longer will be a shinobi or civilian, all of their belongings will be yours, said Tsunade. She did a sly smile at her own use of Konoha law. Behind the Hokage monument. Tsunade and Naruto soon appeared before a small house that looks fit for 3 people. It looked simple and not so extravagant. Okay Naruto, place your hand on the door and put a bit of your chakra into it, instructed Tsunade. Naruto, following her instructions, placed the hand on the door and put chakra into the door. Soon the door opened, revealing the inside of the house. The odd thing was that there was no sign of accumulation of dust or cobwebs. Naruto walked up to a painting that was on the family room. On the picture was a man with similar look to Naruto, only with bangs on the side. Beside him was a red-haired woman with violet eyes. He had a sensation of knowing who these two people were. Mom, Dad. His voice sounded like it was going to croak. Tsunade stood behind Naruto and placed a hand on his shoulder to comfort them. Yes Naruto, these are your parents, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, or by their true names Minato Citri and Kushina Bale. Citri Bale? Asked a confused Naruto. Tsunade took a seat on the chair that was in the room. A very small few knew of your parents' true name. Those that knew was me, Jiraiya and Sarutobi. They decided to use alternate names to start a new life here in Konoha. Kushina decided to have the name of Uzumaki as a way to honor the deceased clan of my grandmother, but they weren't, as you can say, normal. How are my parents not normal? Well, your parents came from another dimension and they are devils, said the female blonde, dropping the bomb. Naruto looked depressed at being called a monster, so I really am a demon. Shouted the boy in pain as Tsunade hit him in the head hard. You are not a demon, you are a devil, an entirely different thing from what you have read and heard, said the medic Nin. Now don't call yourself that, got it? Naruto nodded quickly in fear. Good, now you see Kushina's father didn't approve of her relationship with Minato, and she was also arranged to marry another man from a different clan, but the two were so in love that they eloped and escaped to Konoha to avoid her clan's wrath in such humiliation. Your parents soon saw Konoha as their own family and joined the shinobi forces. Your mother gained the moniker of Red Death for the sight of her red hair being their last, and you already know the moniker of your father, said the woman, getting a nod from the boy. But why are you telling me this now? Why did Jiji tell me? Asked Naruto. Because he wanted to use you as a weapon, said Tsunade, shocking the Jinchuriki. Your parents told him of their respected clan's ability along with me and Jiraiya. From Kushina's side, she has an ability called Power of Destruction, which allowed her to send a powerful attack of black with red lining energy that destroy anything. From your father's side was enhanced intelligence, along with the ability to manipulate wind, water and ice, and combine that with the Kickbee sealed inside of you. I could overpower any of the villages like it was nothing. The woman nodded. Yes, he saw an opportunity to have the most powerful soldier that could make Konoha the most dominant village in the elemental nation. I learned of this when I read his black book. I was disgusted by how far he would go for the sake of power. Tsunade soon pulled out a white sheet of paper. Naruto, since you now know the truth, take this. She said, handing him a paper with a blue insignia. After you collect everything that is within this house, use that contract seal to summon Minato's cousin. His name is Turbito Citri, most likely the current head of the Citri family. The blonde shakily took the paper and looked at the blue design. Without knowing it, he was hugged by Tsunade. Be happy, Naruto, you deserve this, more than anyone. Naruto began to muster tears on his eyes at those words. His life always was a struggle, never able to find true happiness. I will, Tsunade. Tsunade soon lifted herself and let Naruto to himself in his parents' home. Once she was gone, Naruto walked to the studies of the house. There it had tips on how to use his mother's power of destruction, along with some spells for wind, water and ice. When Naruto took seat on the chair, he saw a letter written to him in blue symbol. Taking the letter, he opened it and began to read the contents. To my son, Naruto. If you are reading this, it means that both I and your mother had died, and we are sorry for not being able to raise you and be there for you, but hope my cousin Turbito was able to raise you to a fine young man and hopefully awakened your demonic power after you unlocked your chakra, since I am writing this letter while the Kikbi has begun to attack. Your mother is keeping it at bay so I can write this. You see, Naruto, us devils are unable to seal Yoki into our systems, so I have sealed it away so that you are able to develop a chakra pathway to use the Kikbi's chakra. Best of luck, my son, for you may be the first devil to be able to use both chakra and Yoki. We love you. Your father Minato Citri and mother Kushina Bale. After reading the letter, Naruto began to cry in joy and anger, joy for knowing that his parents loved him and also some relatives still alive, and angry that the man he saw as a grandfather betrayed him and took him away from having a happy young devil. Soon picked the paper up and focused on it. Soon the paper of his hand floated away and it turned into a blue glyph with the same symbol that was on it. Soon the figure of a man began to appear. There before him was a tall, bespectacled and handsome man with short black hair and violet eyes. He dresses in a dark suit and wears white gloves. The man looked down at the boy. His eyes widened as he looked at the boy. Minato. Naruto shook his head. I am not my father. I am Naruto Citri Bale, his son and your first cousin once removed. This was how Naruto's life finally had a turn for the better and going into a future that no one will be able to foresee. After all, he is still the most unpredictable person in all of the elemental nations. After Turbito arrived at Naruto summoning him, they had a small chat about the young devil's life. Turbito at the end of the conversation was best described as livid. His cousin's son has lived a life that could be described as hell, and that is saying something since they are both a demon. He wondered how the boy still sane, but it did show that the boy was very much like his mother, too strong-willed to let others put her down. He soon unlocked his demonic power, which surprised the man. The boy had enough power to be classed as an ultimate class devil. His hair also changed color to black with red tips, along with his eyes turning obsidian blue with a violet outer ring. His skin was now a little pale, but still refrained his tan. The young boy soon returns with all of his parents' belongings all inside a scroll. Ready to go home? Your real home? Asked Turbito. Naruto nodded as he now stood beside his cousin. He was asked before to say goodbye to anyone in the village, but the villagers are most likely were told about his banishment, so he instead summoned Gamakichi and gave him several letters to give to those who cared about him, such as the Ichiraku family, Konohamaru and his friends, Iruka, Tsunade and Jiraiya. He decided to keep his summon contract to contact with Jiraiya. Yes, I am. Naruto stood beside Turbito as a magic circle formed underneath them. Let's go home, he said as they teleported into the underworld. Back in his parents' house, several seals went off, destroying anything that could have been useful for scavengers of his former home. Konoha Council. After Tsunade returns from bringing Naruto to his parents' home, she felt a bit of relief from doing a small act of good to the child of her friend. The slug Sanin was unable to do anything to help Naruto, even she asked to take him with her and during her self-imposed exile. Sarutobi didn't allow it due to fear of a shinobi from Iwagakure, able to see the similarities between him and his father. And trusted the letter she gained from Sarutobi that he was doing fine, happy and having a normal childhood. That is until she read the black book that belongs to Sarutobi, containing his plan on how to make Naruto loyal to the village and above all himself, using the hate and loss of the village to weaken the boy and implant a false sense of safety when around him, weakening him to be easy to control and manipulate. To say the least, she was disgusted. This village was now a shadow of its former self. The teaching of her grandfather and granduncle was thrown to the mud. Everything this place was built for was now meant nothing. Now both Tsunade and the Shinobi Council were getting a piercing headache as the Civilian Council were screaming for how to increase the ego of Sasuke Uchiha. The shouting ended when Jiraiya came in with rage visible in his face. Who in their right god-forsaken mind did this? He did what? asked a scared civilian. Jiraiya walked up to the Hokage and placed a banished order on Naruto before her. When I went to Tsunade's office, I saw these paper ordering the banishment of Naruto Uzumaki, he said in a cold tone. Yes, the daemon has finally agreed to banish the demon spawn, said a civilian with a smile on his face. It soon changed to one of horror as a kunai dug into his neck. The third's law is still in effect, all those who speak of his condition dies on the spot, said the frog Sannin, but I want to know is who among you forged a false order of the fire daemon? What do you mean? Asked Sum. Jiraiya soon turned to the Inuzuka head. What I mean is that every year the daemon change his seal of approval. Each year he gets 4 new stamps with different color and symbol for each seasons. He brought the paper up. This seal is one that he had been stolen 4 months ago and replaced with a new one. So may I ask who did this? The civilians' council looked like they were ready to shit themselves. Well, Danzo gritted his teeth on this little mistake. Looks like age has finally made him do a rookie mistake. Thankfully his men didn't leave anything to lead back to him. So does this mean? It mean that Naruto's banishment was all a hoax, but it doesn't matter, said Tsunade as the sound of explosion was heard, for he is already long gone. Why do you mean by you gave it to him, didn't you? Yep. May we ask what you two are talking about? Asked Inoichi. The two Sannin exchanged look and nodded in agreement. It concerns Naruto's lineage. What about it? The boy is an orphan, even more so a deep rat, a civilian rephrased his word as he saw a kunai in the male Sannin hand. Well, true, he is an orphan, but is an orphan to 2 people a lot of you know fairly well. One is Kushina Uzumaki, his mother. Tsume looked at her Hokage getting her full attention, and his father Minato Namikaze. At this all hell broke loose. The civilians shouted in denial about their beloved Hokage. The Shinobi Council on the other hand, began to put the dots together. Naruto has shown familiar behavior to Kushina. They both had a short temper, a verbal tic, obsession for ramen and a love for pranking, and having his father's looks. But also his ingenious way to think during a battle and unorthodox way of fighting. Quite. Shouted the busty female. Now, unlike most of you believe, Minato and Kushina's family are both alive, said the Hokage, bringing confusion to them. The reason they came to Konoha was personal, and only me, Sarutobi and Jiraiya knew it. Since he was banished, I gave Naruto a mean to call his distant family members that my deceased sensei decided to not hand him over to. When he was told by Minato Todo on the first day. What are you getting at? What I am getting at is that my sensei held a child away from his family, all for the sake of keeping the power of the Kikbi in his and the village's grasp, and making him loyal, so that he will be his weapon on controlling all the other villages, said the woman. The Shinobi Council looked shocked of their dead Hokage doing such a thing, to make a child submissive using such degrading action. It was below what a Hokage stood for. "Yes, we weren't so different, old friend," thought the Warhawk. He did a small smile of his teammates' well thought out plan. Now Naruto is with his family, out of anyone's grasp, and impossible to reach, so all I can say that good job, you just removed one of the most loyal shinobi you can ever ask for. Council dismissed, she said with a smug on her face and left with Jiraiya. The shinobi council not too far behind also left. However, in the corner of the room a certain plant man heard the entire thing. Leader is not going to like this. Citri territory. Naruto and Tobito both soon appeared before a large mansion. The young boy was mesmerized by the sight of the large mansion. This is your home? Yes, and soon you will also call it, said Tobito, making the red-tipped haired boy. The two males soon entered the mansion. There before them was an average height woman with long black hair that reached her knee, violet eyes that was currently glaring at the older gentleman in moonlight pale skin. She has a black dress with glitter that shinned with a visible light and a black high-heeled shoes. Dear, where did you run off to? And why did you return with a child? Asked the woman. Well, love, I was summoned, said Tobito in a calm fashion. By who? By this young boy, said the man as he soon put his hand on the boy's shoulder. His name is Naruto Bale Citri, son of Minato Citri and Kushina Bale, my cousin and Benelana's nephew. The woman looked at the boy and saw the similarities of his parents on him. She smiled and walked up to the boy and gave him a warm welcoming hug. Welcome home, Naruto. The boy had tears accumulating on his eye. Why, yeah, I'm home. Family room. Alexia Citri, wife Tobito Citri, was beyond furious. When the old saying of hell has no fury like a woman's scorn, they weren't kidding. Her demonic power was flaring like wildfire, alerting everyone in the mansion, even her two daughters, of her displeasure. Outside, many of the men felt the feminine fury and prayed for the one who caused it to have a swift and painless death. I can't believe there are still human like that in the world. To harm a child in such a way is unforgivable. She shouted. Now love, calm down, you are scaring him, he said, pointing at Naruto, who hid behind his chair, trembling like a leaf. Small tears formed on the side of his eyes as he trembled. Alexia took deep breath and lowered her power to a more stable level. Sorry about that, but the thought of a child suffering in such a way makes me so angry, the Citri mistress said, taking a seat. Are you alright, mother? said a voice at the door as it soon opened. There on the door was a girl with short black bob cut hair and violet eyes, wearing a light blue sundress and a pair of glasses. "Hello Sona dear, everything is alright, just a bit annoyed from what I have been told by your father. Where is your sister?" asked her mother. As soon as she asked, another girl appeared. She had long black hair tied into twin tails and violet eyes. She has a childlike body with larger than normal breast. She is also wearing a pink magical girl's clothing. "Hi. Kasan," shouted the girl. "Well, now that you both are here, girls, we have a relative staying over." Alexia motioned Naruto to come and greet the young boy now visible to the two girls before him. "Serafall, Sona, this is Naruto Bale Uzumaki, your cousin. Naruto, these are my daughters, Sona Citri and Serafall Leviathan Citri." "Hi," he said in a low voice. "Howie," shouted Serafall as she went up to the boy and began rubbing his cheeks with her own, getting him to purr, increasing his cuteness factor. "He is just so cute. Why didn't you let us meet him sooner? Hogging all this cuteness away from us should be illegal," said Serafall as she hugged her cousin. Naruto, on the other hand, was blushing as his arm was having a good feel of her chest and also not accustomed to a girl showing so much affection. "Well, we didn't know about him until recently," said Turbito as he made himself some for himself and his wife. "What do you mean, father?" Turbito took a sip and adjusted his glasses. His parents eloped and left the underworld. It was a huge scandal that made the head of the Bale house furious even till this day. So how was he able to hide himself for so long? Many devil would have been able to find him in the human realm, asked the curious youngest child of the Citri household. "Simple, they left to another dimension," said the head of the household. "What?" shouted his daughters at what he had just said. "Yes, you see, Minato, my cousin, was quite a genius when it comes to runes and glyph creation. During that time he was able to create a special glyph that allows him to jump to another dimension that was in a way similar to ancient Japan. He is the only devil who ever created such a glyph, and only me along with your mother and his wife knew about it. Thankfully I gave him one of my summoning flyers in case he ever needed me, and here we are," said the man, informing his daughter of their father's cousin. "So where are they? Will they be coming soon?" "I would love to meet them," asked Serafall, only to make Naruto look at the floor and her parents having a face of sadness. Oh, I am so sorry." The Mayu hugged Naruto, comforting him. She felt horrible making him recall that his parents are dead. It's okay Sirach-chan, you didn't know," the boy said with a smile. The older girl returned a smile as she hugged a little tighter Naruto. "He is so warm." The head Citri smiled at the sight. If anyone could make Naruto feel better, it would be his eldest daughter. Her childish nature and kind heart could heal the wound of his childhood. "Now that Naruto is here with us, we need to teach him about the underworld, along with training him in using and controlling magic power and giving him his own evil piece set. I will also call Venilana to come and train him in his power of destruction." "That sounds great," the boy said, excited of the upcoming training. It has been a year since Naruto has lived with the Citri family. He now stood 5'1" with a more muscular body, and it was the best year of his life. Being banished really has turned his life for the better. Turbito became a father figure for him, helping him, being well-mannered and calm, behaving like a perfect gentleman, with a devilish prankster waiting to spring out when needed. Alexia became a mother figure, making eat proper food and keeping his ramen addiction to a minimum. She also began teaching him how to control his magic, her daughters also contributing and teaching him, since each of them are good in one of the three elements he possesses. With Sona it was water, Alexia was wind, and Serafall being ice. Naruto was quite a natural and creative when it came to using wind and water magic. Apparently all the jutsu he saw evolving these two elements were capable of being imitated into spells. However, it was when he began his training in ice magic that he shocked the family. Flashback. "Okay, Naru-kun. We will start by creating a simple ice spike," said Serafall, getting the attention of her cute cousin, while the family watched from a safe distance. "Now first focus the water in the air with your demonic power." Serafall demonstrated by focusing her energy into a seal with a Citri crest, then picture the amount of spikes you want around you. The sudden drop in temperature means that you were successful in creating the spikes. Soon 10 spikes of ice appeared behind her in a form of an arc. Finally aim them at the targets and fire, she shouted as the spikes hit the training dummies. The holder of the title Leviathan turned to the amazed boy before her. "Now you try." Naruto nodded as he followed the instructions his cousin told him. "Focus on the water in the air with my demonic power." He raised his hand, focusing on the energy as a seal with a family crest appeared. "Think how many ice spikes I want." He thought of going with a simple amount like 5. The young devil didn't need to see behind him as he felt the temperature dropped. "Aim them at my target and fire." He let the ice spikes fly towards the target, however once they pieced the training dummy he sees that his ice was black as night. He turned around to look at the surprised look of everyone. Sona was looking at the black icicles with fascination. Turbito and Alexia were stunned on seeing black ice for the first time, and Serafall, well, she was currently hugging her cousin to death by using her well-firmed breast. End of flashback. After all the members of the Citri household along with the servants got out of their shock, they went to research on any other known devil to have this power in the past, and the only ever recorded to have this power was the first Leviathan. By what is written in the book, this ice that could freeze anything it comes in contact with, along with rendering healing abilities useless. It also eliminates the normal weakness and limitations of ice. All member of the Citri house believe that he may rival one of the Mayu with just this power, but then adding his status as Inchi as well as him having both chakra and inki in his system and his power of destruction, this makes his potential practically limitless. The relationship he has with Serafall and Sona was unique for each of them. But Serafall, they go around and prank very spoiled devil nobles, never being caught and the victims blaming people who had bad blood with them. Serafall was also envious of his ability to create clones, she could use that to finish her paperwork faster. She also liked to snuggle with him whenever she can, she even slept in his bed a few times without alerting him of her presence. But he didn't mind since it felt nice to have someone sleeping with you, being alone does that to you. Sona on the other hand was the opposite of Serafall, she was strict and intelligent, who doesn't take things lightly and tries to make him stop his pranking nature. However, she has a dream to open up a raiding game school, regardless of whether they are low, middle or high class devils. Naruto told her that he will support her on achieving her dream, which for some reason got a blush from her. That one promise caused her to have a crush towards Naruto, thus becoming very protective of him, even to the point of glaring many female devils who wink at him when he roams the streets. He also came and met with his aunt from his mother's side, he recalled how he met her along with his cousins. Flashback. We find Naruto and Sona playing chess in the library. After the lesson she gave him about the history of the underworld, the two began to play chess. The Citri heiress first taught him what move each piece does. At first Sona beat him easily, but then it got more difficult. His way of moving the pieces even though was unpredictable and unorthodox was very effective. Thus the reason why he was able to beat her twice in a game of 5. Naruto, the boy looked towards the door to see Turbito. There are some people here to see you. The head Citri turned around to open the door, revealing 3 people entering the library. The first was a young girl with crimson hair that reached her mid-back with a single strand sticking out. It also has loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face, white skin and blue-green eyes. She wore a white sundress with white sandals. Next was a man in his early 20s with shoulder-length crimson red hair and the same blue-green eyes, similar to the girl. He wore a black business suit with white undershirt and a red tie, with black pants and dress shoes. Finally was a woman who looked similar to the girl, only with brown hair and violet eyes. She wore an elegant white dress with a pearl necklace with red jewels in the center. Naruto, this is your aunt and Kushina's sister Venelana Gremory, formerly Bale, and her children your cousins Ria's Gremory and Surzich's Lucifer. Naruto's smile grew at learning that he had more people to call family. He got off his chair and stood before them. Hi, I am Naruto Bale Citri, nice to meet you auntie, cousins, he said with a smile that made many wonder if he may have angel blood in his gene pool, since it was too pure and innocent. Flashback end. The meeting of the other half of his family was quite pleasant. Ria's got to know her cousin better and was excited to know that he was a real-life ninja. This was total bragging right on having the coolest cousin when meeting with the other heirs of the other households. It also brought a glare contest between her and Sona, since they wanted Naruto's attention. Naruto was dense to notice how the girls had a crush on him. Ria's gained that crush when he wanted to know the real her, not the heiress of the Gremory household. The rest of the adults laughed at the sight, minus Serafall who also wanted to have her time with Naruto. He also learned a bit more about his mother. Apparently she had an extremely potent form of the power of destruction, more destructive and powerful than the average power of destruction, like those that the Bale have. It also caused her hair to turn red, not a blood red like those of a Gremory. He also behaved exactly like her when he was younger, but now became a perfect mixture of his 2 parents. Then he went over to the Gremory household every other week to be trained by Venelana on his power of destruction. They learned that his power of destruction is the same as his mother. He trained to control the destructive power of the Bale household so that he doesn't waste all of his demonic power or kill someone by accident. He learned the basic, which was summoning it and launching the explosive beam or bolts of demonic power towards enemies. One day Surzich's showed him his Ruin of Extincton, which was a compressed form of the power of destruction in shape of an orb, but also very mobile and less destructive to the surrounding area. This drove the boy to try and make his own version of the spell. It took Naruto 3 months to create his unique moves similar to that of Surzich's. He used his shadow clones to help him cheat on it. After gaining far better control over his power of destruction, he formed it to make a red-black English long sword with an open center, an. Look similar to Falchion from Fire Emblem Awakening. He is able to launch them at supersonic speed. Make them surround him to be shield while negating attacks, surround the target to be later impaled, penetrate through any form of defenses, and also limit the destruction to a minimum. Rias told him that his move was similar to that of a character from a video game called Devil May Cry 3, so he decided to name the move Swords of Oblivion for all who are pierced by it cease to exist. Both literally and figuratively. He also planned on making some other weapon forms for his power of destruction, since it would be good to have multiple forms for different situation, same goes for his black ice abilities. During his stay he met and got to know Grafia Lucifuge, Serzache's queen, the strongest queen of the underworld and his aunt-in-law, even though she is strict and quite a rule follower, along with being one of the top 3 women that he fears to anger, she was a kind and caring mother, along with a great role model for his cousin. Grafia also taught him some training methods to improve his ice magic, since the Lucifuge are known for it. It was also in his days training within the Gremory house he met Serafall Bale, his cousin from the Bale household. They got on the right foot when they both went on an all-out spar only using hand combat. The end result of the said spar was a double knockout for their own respected reasons. For Serafall it was because his stamina reached his limit, and for Naruto reaching the limit of his durability. The two cousins later traded training regime. Naruto followed Serafall's training regime to increase his strength and durability, while Serafall trained to increase his stamina and reflex. After finally getting adjusted and trained in how to be a devil, Turbito decided to take Naruto to Ajuka to get his evil piece set, however what had happened wasn't something that occurs every day. Flashback. Naruto stood beside his uncle, Sona, and Serafall would have gone with them, however they were needed elsewhere. Serafall needed to do her duty as ma'am, and Sona needed to train in as she will be heiress, along with searching for peerage members. So how does this whole thing works, Beelzebub-sama? Asked Naruto to the creator of the evil pieces. Sitting next to a computer was a young man with light blue eyes and green hair that is slicked back. He had a grey button-up long-sleeve shirt with black dress pants and brown shoes. This man is Ajuka Beelzebub, one of the 4 great satans. Well Naruto, I will simply ask a few questions, you have to answer them all honestly, later you will go towards the machine for the last part of the procedure to create the evil pieces, said the man, getting a nod from Naruto getting everything that has been said. Alright, now let us begin. First up, name. Naruto Bale Citri. How would you see your peerage? I will see them as my friends, comrades and part of my own family. Ajuka smirked at the answer, it was similar to that Rias responded to him. Next, for why would you fight for? To protect those that precious to me, and also for what is right. Last question, what is your goal? Well, first I wanted to be the leader of the village I lived, but now I want to become Lucifer. Said Naruto with excitement. The green-haired devil looked at the boy, he is like a mixture of Rias and Serafall, thought the man. Alright, now follow me to the machine, and we will create your evil pieces. Soon the boy followed the man towards the machine. It looked like a giant metal furnace with many tubes and a hole to fit someone's arm on the side. Alright, now I want you to put your hand inside the hole. Then release all of your demonic power, the machine will do the rest. Naruto nodded as he placed his arm in the hole. The blonde soon released all of his demonic power, which surprised Ajuka, since he didn't believe Turbito when he said that the boy may have more demonic power than Serzache's, and to see it showed that the younger generation will surpass the old. However, what they didn't know was that he was also putting his own chakra and the Kyuubi's Imki into the machine, which was doing some further mutation. When the machine was finished, there before them was something that shocked the 2 older devils. In the furnace were 2 evil piece sets, one of them being blue in color, with hints of light red in the normal number of pieces, and the other being red with additional pieces, such additional pieces being 2 pawns and 2 new pieces, those being a horse with either having a crown or tiara. This is amazing. Shouted the man. He appeared before the pieces with stars in his eyes and began writing in his notes at a superhuman speed. Serzache's has told him about Ajuka having something called research mode. This only occurs when something truly fascinating catches his attention. He was also told that this side of the collected mam acted similar to a child on an extreme sugar high, combined with an overdose of caffeine. I knew that the evil pieces will be affected due to you having chakra and ilki. But for it to have such effects, it's truly amazing. The man soon went to his computer and typed a few keys to change the screen. By what I can guess is that your Ilki has mutated the evil pieces even further. Since they are all mutated pieces. And because of your chakra, the machine created an Adishona evil pieces based out of it. The man soon laughed as he picked up the boy and spins him around, then put him back on the ground, Naruto's head still spinning. You, my boy, will be the only devil alive to ever have 2 evil piece sets. And for that I congratulate you. Ajuka soon took in a deep breath to calm himself down, but I would like to keep those 2 new pieces to study them and one of your pawns from each set and see what they are capable of since they are all new. Sure, said Naruto, since he too was curious of what those 2 additional knights can do. Excellent. shouted the man as he took the pieces he needed along with one pawn from each of the set and went off to research on them. He gave Naruto 2 cases for his evil pieces, one in blue the other in red. Flashback end. After that incident he was given his 4 pieces back. Ajuka called the 2 new pieces Marshal and Cardinal, which he named after fairy pieces from a chess game variant called Embassy Chess. The Marshal was a combination of both the Rook's strength and the Knight's speed, while the Cardinal was a combination of the Bishop's magical control and again the Knight's speed. And his pawns from the red set are able to promote to these pieces. However, it appears that the pieces that were infused with his chakra can only reincarnate those with chakra similar to his own, so he would need to go to his birth dimension to make that set. The ma'am also states that no one will ever be able to replicate this since he was a unique case. And also approved of his additional pieces to be able to enter the raiding game. All members of his family were shocked, since this was something no one has ever heard occur before. Rias and Sona were a bit jealous of him having more evil pieces than him. This made Naruto a bigger competitor, since he has a number advantage, even if that is by only 4 pieces and an additional set, but it appears he can only use one of his sets at a time, giving at least a fighting chance to his opponent. Now we find Naruto in the library reading about summoning conjuring spells, which revolves on summoning items or beings along with tied to necromancy. Let's see, summon bound sword, nope, summon bound bow and spectral arrows maybe1. He continued to skip pages to find a spell to learn, which are able to conjure a weapon to bind to him. As he was about to close the book something caught his attention, turning to the last page he found something that could be what he was looking for. Let's see, summoning the stray Excalibur or Dark Excalibur 2, what in the world? I never heard of such thing. Naruto left the page of the book open on the desk as he went through the library, searching for book about mythical swords. When he found it, he turned to the page of the sword he was searching for. Here it is. Dark Excalibur, also known as the stray Excalibur or sword that cuts the heavens. It is a wholly demonic counterpart of the Excalibur. The sword was infused with the souls of those inflicted with pain and torment, along with the original Satan's power. It was used by the original Satan in the beginning of the Great War. However, it was said that the sword was stolen by the Morgan Le Fay, who placed a curse on the sword and tossed it into a lake of ice, so the sword couldn't be used for evil or malicious purposes. Be warned that it will test you, and if you don't have enough power to control the sword, it can cause you to go mad with power. For the young devil put the pros and cons of having the sword. He could gain a powerful tool to protect those he loved. However, if he was weak, it will make him mad with power like a certain Uchiha. But the need to be stronger for those around him outweighed the consequence. Going back to the book, he read what he needed to summon the sword. Surprisingly, all he needed was a body of water to act as a median for the sword to appear to his location. Luckily, he could use the pond behind the mansion. Once he arrived to his destination, he read the chant he must say to summon the sword. Taking a deep breath, he focused his demonic power to the body of water before him. Great sword of dark and light, please hear my cry. A magic circle began to form on the water's surface. I summoned thyself from lake of ice to bring me victory in this fight. The area surrounding it began to be enveloped in ice. The outer circle of the summoning seal was done and began to work on the inner markings. Envelop the heavens with your glow and cast your rage upon my foe. Red mist began to emit from the summoning circle. A center ring began to form. Unlock your power from deep within so that together we may win. The surface of the ice underneath the summoning circle began to crack, like something was pushing upwards. The seal was finished and had many symbols that were tribal in nature. Appear in this forbidden realm as I call out your name, Dark Excalibur. Soon the ice shot upwards as shards fell around the area. Then there before where the center of it floating in the air was the weapon he summoned. It looked like a giant great sword with a gold hilt and a long red handle. Time for you to finally be tamed. The boy walks up to the sword. He felt the malicious aura coming out of it when he was a few inches from it. The aura rivaled that of the Kyuubi when he met it the first time. Without hesitation he grabbed the hilt and soon felt a jolt of pain, of intense pain all over his body. He was having difficulty breathing and was on his knees. His eyes went to his hand that was holding the sword. He saw glowing red tribal markings expanding and covering his arm. In minutes his entire body was covered in the glowing markings. For the first time he felt overwhelmed, like he may fall to a presence greater than himself. But then flashes of those he cared about appeared in his head, those who cared for him when he was young. His newly acquired family and his 3 cousins who meant everything to him. Determination filled his eyes and the grip on the sword intensified. Naruto soon stood up glaring at the sword, flaring his demonic aura along with his chakra. No. I will not fall. I need this power to protect those I love. And I will be damned to lose here. You may think I don't deserve of wielding you. But I will show you. That I am more than worthy than anyone who has tried to summon you. For I am Naruto Bale Citri. Future Mam of the Underworld. While in his speech the markings soon focused on his back in between the shoulder bones. All of the tribal marking merged to form a 5-tama wheel. Naruto soon falls on his knees with the sword in his hand. He raised the busted sword and did a victorious smile. I own you now. Naruto Naru-kun. The boy slowly stood up and turned to see his entire family. He also can see Alexia eyebrow twitch constantly on the sight before her. Hey everybody, nice day huh? He said with a sheepish grin. He can feel the scolding that his aunt and Sona will do to him. It was something he was not looking forward to. Thanks for watching.